Listen. Practice. Speak. Practice makes you perfect.
Have you ever found yourself, maybe in the office, wanting to connect with colleagues, or perhaps, gently steer a conversation to its close, but felt a little unsure about the best way to do it in English?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a common scenario, I think, for many of us navigating those everyday workplace interactions. Let's talk about those initial moments, those simple but actually quite crucial ways to break the ice or just check in with someone. Our first approach is that classic how's it been or how's it going structure, starting with the present perfect tense.
Yeah, that's a great starting point because it's so incredibly common when we ask, how's your day been? Or maybe, how's your week been? We're naturally using the present perfect tense.
Right, that's been.
Exactly. Because the period we're asking about, the workday or the week, it's still ongoing. For instance, if it's, say, 3 p.m., the day isn't over yet.
Still happening.
It's still happening. Or if it's Wednesday, the week hasn't concluded. So how has something been isn't asking about a finished event. It focuses on how that time has progressed, well, up until this very moment you're asking.
Okay.
It's a general inquiry, really, about their recent experiences and how things have unfolded so far.
And the subtle power of this question, I think, is that it asks for general updates without being too probing.
Yeah, it's low pressure.
It's a low-pressure way to initiate contact. And you can easily vary it too, can't you? Instead of just day or week, you could ask, how's your morning been so far?
Adding the so far.
Adding so far really emphasizes that until now aspect, which is perfect for those morning interactions maybe before lunch.
Definitely.
Or for something more work-specific, you might ask, how's your new project been? And this isn't just polite small talk, is it?
No, it's more strategic than that.
It feels like a strategic opener that signals you're a team player, maybe subtly inviting collaboration or even a request for help without putting immediate pressure on them.
That's a really good point. It fosters a sense of shared responsibility, perhaps, and shows genuine interest in their work, not just passing the time.
So what about replies? What do people usually say?
Well, when it comes to replies, you'll hear a range. A very, very common British answer, often paired with a little shrug, is not too bad.
Ah, yes, the classic not too bad.
It is. Now, for our American listeners, this might sound a bit understated, maybe even a little unenthusiastic if you're expecting a more, effusive, it's going great.
Right. Americans tend to be a bit more upbeat sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. But in British English, not too bad often implies things are perfectly okay. Nothing exceptional maybe, but certainly not problematic. It's more of a neutral to positive response, actually.
Interesting. So not too bad is actually pretty good.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
Or at least acceptable. You might also hear, it's been busy, which is very common everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's busy.
Or just, it's been fine. Now, what's fascinating here, and you mentioned this earlier, is the common native speaker tendency to shorten these replies.
Ah, yes.
So instead of the full present perfect, it has been busy, you'll frequently just hear busy or fine.
Just the adjective.
Just the adjective. And this is perfectly casual and totally acceptable in a workplace setting. It doesn't sound rude or grammatically incorrect in a conversational context at all.
That shortening is a brilliant point because it really highlights how native speakers often prioritize flow and, naturalness over sticking to strict grammatical rules.
Exactly. Makes it feel authentic.
It makes the conversation feel more authentic and less formal, definitely. And then I suppose there are slightly more elaborate replies, too.
There are. People might say, it's been good. Or maybe things have been good. Now, when someone says things in this context.
What does things mean?
Yeah, good question. They're often referring to general life events, updates, news, or just general happenings in their world. It's quite vague, but covers a lot.
So the new project's been good is direct.
Very direct.
But things have been good is broader.
Exactly. It covers a broader sense of their well-being or situation. And honestly, this how's it been approach is such a low-pressure, widely accepted way to show basic interest. It's like a polite daily greeting that just goes one step further.
Sets a friendly tone.
Yeah, it sets a friendly tone without demanding a deep, involved conversation, which, let's face it, is truly ideal for the busy workplace.
Definitely. But what if you're specifically asking about something that's currently in progress right now, rather than something that's been happening up until now? Is there a difference?
Yes. There is a subtle difference, and that's where our second conversation starter comes in. This one uses the present continuous tense. How's your day work role project trading going?
Ah, the ing form.
Exactly. Here, the focus is on the continuous nature of the current state or activity.
Hmm.
How is your day going? Is asking about something that is actively unfolding or perhaps has been in progress over the last few hours.
So more immediate.
A bit more immediate, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice, easy way to inquire about a colleague's day at work, whether you're catching them, in the middle of a task or just passing by their desk.
So if I catch someone on their way to a meeting, maybe, or they're at their desk clearly deep in thought, I might choose, how's it going, rather than how's it been.
You could, yeah.
It feels a bit more immediate, doesn't it?
Precisely. It implies a sense of ongoing action. And you can adapt this endlessly, making it more specific, just like the first one.
Right.
So, how's your work going? Is a general inquiry about their current tasks. How's your new role going? Is perfect for a colleague who has recently taken on a new position or title within the company. Doesn't have to be a new job entirely.
It's just a new responsibility, maybe?
Exactly. Or you could ask, how's your new project going? If you know they're really engrossed in a significant undertaking. Or perhaps, how's your training going? If they're undergoing some new learning program, it shows you're aware of their current activities.
You're paying attention.
You're paying attention, yeah.
Okay. And when it comes to replies for, how's it going? The classic grammatically precise response, because the question starts with how, would involve an adverb, right?
That's technically correct, yes.
So it's going well, or maybe it's going quite smoothly,
But,
yeah.
just like we discussed earlier, there's often a more casual, extremely common reply you'll hear, particularly in American English. It's going good.
Ah, going good. You hear that all the time.
All the time. Even though, technically good is an adjective and well is the adverb we should use with going, the phrase it's going good is so widely used that it's really not considered rude or wrong in most professional casual settings.
No, it just sounds very natural and friendly.
It does. It's important for our listeners to recognize this common usage and not perhaps judge it too harshly grammatically.
Good point. It's about understanding how people actually speak.
That's spot on. It's a perfect example of spoken language evolving, really. Then you have replies that are a bit more neutral or even subtly negative, like, it's going okay.
Okay, the classic okay.
We often use okay to imply things aren't amazing, but they're manageable. Think of it as that polite 5 out of 10 we mentioned.
Right. Not great, not terrible.
Exactly. Or if they're making progress, but it's maybe not particularly fast or easy, they might say, it's coming along.
Coming along.
Meaning it's progressing steadily, perhaps, but maybe not quickly or without hurdles. A common scenario might be, how's that new software integration going? And the reply, it's coming along, still a few bugs to iron out.
Okay, signals progress, but hints at challenges.
Precisely. And for something really challenging, you might hear, the new training is tough, but we're getting through it.
Getting through it.
Which means they're persevering, taking it step by step. It's a great insight into their resilience, actually.
Yeah, that's true. So this phrase, how's it going, seems ideal for checking in on specific ongoing tasks or maybe transitions your colleague might be experiencing. It demonstrates empathy, I think, and a willingness to listen, which can really strengthen those professional bonds. It's practical small talk.
It is. It shows you're engaged, and it allows you to offer support, perhaps, or simply acknowledge their efforts without demanding a long story.
Okay, let's broaden the scope now. Our third conversation starter uses the phrase, how are things going with? This sounds incredibly versatile.
It really is, because it allows you to inquire about people like teams, clients, bosses, or significant work-related things like, say, projects, or even entire departments.
So things is the key word here.
Things is the flexible part, yes. This question seeks updates on how situations are unfolding, and crucially, it subtly implies an offer of help or maybe advice if needed. It's not just asking, it's showing willingness to engage.
Right, so you could ask, how are things going with your team? Which is a collective inquiry about their group dynamics or maybe current workload.
Exactly. Or, how are things going with your new client, if you know they've recently taken on a new account? It's also perfectly appropriate for asking about a colleague's superior. How are things going with your new boss?
And using things makes it feel less personal, perhaps.
I think so. This phrase subtly shifts the burden from the individual colleague to the situation or the things, making it potentially easier for colleagues to open up about challenges without feeling like they're just complaining personally.
That's a clever psychological aspect.
It can be, yeah. It's an empathetic invitation to maybe problem solve together,
Hmm.
not just a casual check-in like, how are you?
And you mentioned the flexibility of things. I know I often hear people who are learning English try to translate directly and say something like, "How's your boss going?"
Yes. That sounds quite odd in English, doesn't it?
It does. Like you're asking if the boss is physically moving somewhere.
Right. But how are things going with your boss is perfectly natural because things makes it flexible for both objects and people. You can use it for almost anything.
Like new hires.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How are things going with the new guy or even a new department that's been recently restructured?
Yeah.
How are things going with the marketing integration?
Wow. Okay. And could it extend beyond work?
If you have a close enough relationship, and maybe you're outside of the immediate work context, like grabbing coffee, it could potentially venture into personal life. How are things going with your family? Or even just a very general, how are things going? As an inquiry about life overall. But tread carefully there.
Good advice. Stick to work topics unless you know them well.
Generally safer, yes. We're asking for these updates primarily because we want to know if situations are progressing well, just okay, or perhaps not so great. And critically, if there are problems, it really opens the door for us to potentially offer assistance or simply lend an ear.
It's polite, appropriate, yet friendly.
Exactly. It shows you care and are willing to support. This question subtly creates an opening for problem solving or collaboration, making small talk potentially more meaningful by showing genuine interest in a colleague's challenges and successes.
Now, a listener might be wondering, what if I'm speaking to someone more senior? How are things going with still work? Is it respectful enough?
That's a great practical question. And in most professional settings, yes, it absolutely does work. It's generally considered respectful, and it shows you're observant of their broader responsibilities.
So if I asked you maybe, how's everything going with your new team launch?
I might reply, oh, it's going well, thanks for asking, or it's going smoothly, mostly.
Yeah.
And just like with the previous phrases, the casual, it's going good or it's going great, are also perfectly acceptable and very common responses, especially in American English.
Still hearing going good a lot.
You will. You can also use the present perfect here too, because the work or situation is likely still ongoing. So, how are things going with your new boss? Someone might reply, it's been a bit tricky so far, but we're finding our rhythm.
Okay, honest but professional.
Exactly. Or, it's been pretty good so far, actually. We've been getting to know each other and establishing new workflows. Other positive responses could be things like, we're making a lot of progress on the XYZ project, or we're getting a lot done on the quarterly report.
Those sound very productive.
They convey a clear sense of achievement and forward movement. Yeah.
And for those neutral or slightly negative replies, are we back to they're going okay?
We often are, yes. Again, it's that polite 5 out of 10, a way to signal things aren't perfect without launching into a complaint session.
But what if things are genuinely not going well? You touched on this. How much should one share in the workplace?
That's such a crucial point, and it really depends on the culture of your workplace and your relationship with the person. While you might hear someone say, perhaps to a trusted colleague, things aren't going that well, or honestly, things haven't been great, it's vital to consider the appropriate level of sharing negativity.
You don't want to be the office complainer.
Exactly. You don't want to gain a reputation at work for always complaining or moaning about things, as that can really bring down office morale and even affect how you're perceived professionally.
So things are going okay might be the safest bet.
Often, things are going okay is the most you'd want to share if you're not entirely happy, especially with someone you don't know extremely well. It gives a little hint without being overly negative or inviting too much probing. It's about finding that balance between transparency and professionalism.
Yeah, the goal is often to invite support or understanding, not necessarily to just dump all your problems on someone.
And precisely. This question, how are things going with? It's powerful because of its breadth. It allows you to engage meaningfully on various fronts, fostering deeper professional relationships by showing genuine interest. It really broadens the scope of your small talk and can even lead to tangible problem-solving opportunities if used well.
Okay, let's pivot now. We've talked about checking in. Now let's move to a crucial aspect of workplace interaction, asking for feedback and opinions. We have a few different approaches here, starting with, how do you like the job working from home, team dynamics, new role, company project so far?
Right. This phrase is specifically tailored for situations when something new has been introduced or experienced. It could be a brand new job, yes, but also a new company policy like working from home, a new project they've just started, or even changes in team structure or dynamics.
And the how at the beginning is key here, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. Because how do you like prompts for a detailed opinion, a description of their experience, not just a simple yes or no answer like, do you like it?
Right. Do you like it? Gets a yes, no. How do you like it? Needs more.
Exactly. And that little phrase, so far, at the end, grounds it firmly in the present perfect, meaning until now. It subtly indicates that you're asking for an ongoing evaluation, their impression up to this point, not necessarily a final judgment.
Got it. So if your company just introduced a new remote work scheme, you could ask a colleague, so how do you like working from home so far? Are you enjoying it? Is it a bit weird?
Perfect example. Or if a new colleague just started maybe last week, how do you like the job so far? Has it been okay? Is it what you expected?
You're looking for more than just, yes, it's fine. You're inviting them to share their actual experiences and observations.
You are. And an interesting point about replies. When you hear someone start their reply with, yeah, it's been really great, that yeah often isn't a direct answer to a hidden yes-no question.
What is it then?
It's often just a filler word, a sort of soft opening, a way of signaling they're about to speak and maybe gathering their thoughts before launching into their more detailed explanation.
Ah, okay. Like a conversational throat clearing.
Sort of, yes. So typical replies might include, yeah, it's been really great so far. I'm loving the flexibility, or I've been enjoying it so far. The team has been very welcoming. Another common and concise one is, so far, so good.
Meaning no problems yet.
Exactly. Everything has been good up to this point. No major issues encountered. For more descriptive answers, you might hear things like, well, I really like the project itself. It's challenging, but it's incredibly interesting, even with the tight deadlines.
Giving specific.
Giving specifics. Or, honestly, it's been great so far. People are really friendly, and the training has been very eye-opening. I feel like I'm learning a lot.
So this question is really your go-to when you want to extract more than a simple affirmative from a colleague.
Definitely.
It encourages them to share their experiences and observations, which provides a much richer conversational exchange. And it gives you opportunities maybe to offer advice or share your own similar experiences if appropriate.
It opens a dialogue, yeah, not just gets a one-word answer.
But what if they don't like it? How do people usually respond politely without being overly negative?
That's a great practical point. If they're perhaps struggling a bit or finding it difficult, they might say something like, well, it's been a bit challenging, to be honest, or maybe I'm still getting used to it.
Okay, acknowledging the difficulty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in this case, as the asker, you might offer a sympathetic response like, oh, I can imagine. Is there anything I can do to help? Or simply, yeah, new things always take a bit of adjustment, don't they?
What should you not do?
Probably what you shouldn't do is immediately jump in with your own complaints or criticisms, even if you happen to share them. It's generally better to listen and be supportive first, before sharing your own perspective, especially if theirs is negative.
Good advice. Okay, building on that, let's consider a more casual opinion-seeking question. This one often comes up after a meeting or maybe when a new development is announced. What do you think about Sarah's idea, boss's suggestion, the new scheduling merger, that email?
Yes, this is perfect for those informal but still professional discussions. It's about discussing ideas or potential decisions that have just come up, and you're seeking a colleague's perspective. Do they agree, disagree, have alternatives?
And importantly, this isn't office gossip, right?
No, ideally not. It should be a professional discussion aimed at understanding different viewpoints or gauging collective sentiment. It helps everyone get on the same page, or at least understand where others stand.
So you might say after a meeting, what do you think about the boss's suggestion? It seemed quite ambitious, right?
Exactly. Or maybe, what do you think about the new proposed schedule? I don't know, starting at 8 instead of 9. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that idea.
Yeah, sharing a tentative opinion to invite theirs.
Precisely. You can even use it for significant company changes, like, what do you think about the merger rumors? Or maybe after an all-staff email. What did you think about that email they sent out regarding the new policy?
It's a good way to get a sense of how people are feeling, but keeping it professional. As you said, we often try to separate our personal feelings from our work analysis.
We try. So you're looking for their professional opinion, ideally, not necessarily just an emotional gut reaction.
So replies could be things like, I think it makes sense given our current resources. Or maybe more cautious, I think it might work, but I'm not sure we have the bandwidth for it right now.
Exactly. Or someone might say, well, I'm not totally convinced yet. I still have a few questions about the implementation plan, expressing reservations.
Right. What about more general replies?
You'll also hear more generic summary responses, especially if someone hasn't fully formed their opinion yet or wants to be diplomatic. Things like, I think overall it's probably a good idea, though it will require some adjustments.
Using overall or in general.
Yes, those are useful summary words here. Or conversely, I think overall it probably won't work well in our department just because of our unique workflow. Another very common reply is, I'm not sure what I think yet. It seems to have pros and it definitely has cons.
Acknowledging complexity.
Right, acknowledging it's not black and white. Or if they feel it needs improvement, they might say, I think it could be better, perhaps with a more phased approach. Or I think the concept is okay, but the execution could use some work, especially around communication.
This phrase seems perfect for those post-meeting debriefs or just casually discussing recent company announcements.
It really is. It allows you to gauge collective sentiment, share your own thoughts tentatively, and contribute to a shared understanding of new initiatives. It helps build that sense of team cohesion, knowing you're all processing the same information.
Okay, now, what if you need a more formal opinion? Maybe you're actually in a meeting or writing a formal email or having a structured discussion where a more elaborate view is expected.
Ah, yes. In that case, you'd likely elevate the language slightly and use something like, what are your thoughts on the new project presentation software that matter?
What are your thoughts on feels more serious?
It is. This signals a significant shift in formality and seriousness compared to what do you think? When you ask, what are your thoughts on? You're explicitly inviting someone to elaborate, to provide a longer, more detailed answer, perhaps with supporting examples or more in-depth analysis.
It's an invitation to elaborate more.
Exactly. It's an invitation to provide a well-considered viewpoint, not just an off-the-cuff reaction. So, a boss might ask you this in a formal review meeting, or a senior colleague might ask if they genuinely want your professional, comprehensive opinion, perhaps for a joint report or a decision they need to make.
So if someone asks you this, you need to be prepared to talk more.
Definitely. Be prepared to share quite a bit more, demonstrating your critical thinking and reasoning. You might hear it framed as, what are your thoughts on the new project proposal? I'd appreciate your detailed input.
Or maybe, what are your thoughts on the presentation this morning? I'm keen to hear your professional opinion on the strategy.
Precisely. Or, what are your thoughts on the new software we rolled out? We're looking for constructive feedback on usability and integration.
And this is where that professional filter we talked about becomes even more important, right?
Absolutely vital. Even if personally you, say, hate the new software, maybe it's slow, the buttons are confusing, you wouldn't just blurt that out in response to, what are your thoughts?
No, probably not constructive.
Not very constructive, no. You'd frame it professionally. You might say something like, well, my initial thoughts are that it needs some work. There seem to be still some kinks to iron out, particularly regarding the integration with our existing systems. However, overall, I can certainly see the potential benefits and why we've installed it.
Focusing on specifics and potential, not just negativity.
Exactly. It's about expressing a constructive, professional viewpoint that ideally focuses on solutions or areas for improvement, not just problems.
So the responses are likely to be more strategic.
Yes, typically more strategic and often framed in terms of benefits, challenges, and perhaps next steps. For instance, a thoughtful reply might be, I can understand the benefits outlined on paper, especially the potential for increased efficiency. However, I still think there are a number of details we need to work out regarding resource allocation and the necessary training.
Okay, balanced.
Balanced.
Yes. Right.
Or maybe, personally, I think the project sounds quite promising conceptually, and perhaps we should explore it a little further, maybe by conducting a small pilot program first to test the waters.
Suggesting a next step. Smart.
Yes. And if you genuinely need more time to gather your thoughts or data, a great strategic reply is something like, overall, I feel that we're probably heading in the right direction with this, but I'd really like to get back to you with some more specific thoughts, or perhaps some concrete ideas after I've had a chance to review the detailed data.
That's a fantastic way to buy time while still providing a preliminary, generally positive answer.
It is. Or, if you have a strong, well-reasoned, negative professional opinion, you could phrase it carefully. Based on my analysis and my opinion, I don't currently see this working for us in the long run, primarily due to our existing infrastructure constraints. However, I would certainly like to discuss this further and present a deeper analysis of the potential risks involved.
Very professional, even when disagreeing.
The key is being prepared and reasoned. When asked, "What are your thoughts on?" you're being invited to provide thoughtful analysis. It's a real opportunity to showcase your critical thinking and professional acumen, demonstrating that you can contribute beyond just surface-level observations. You can definitely feel the language shift with this question. It's less easygoing, much more serious, and it really demands a well-reasoned response.
Okay, let's move to our final conversation starter. This one, did you hear read see about? Sounds a bit more casual again.
It is, yes. This one is slightly more casual and absolutely perfect for those quick break room chats or maybe interactions as you grab a coffee or tea or just pass someone in the hallway. It's excellent for staying informed and connected without necessarily needing a lengthy dialogue.
And you said this phrase serves two purposes.
Yes. First, quite obviously, it checks if the person is aware of a particular piece of news or information. But second, it implicitly, and sometimes explicitly, asks for their opinion or reaction to it.
Ah, okay. So it's like, are you aware of X and what's your take on it?
Pretty much, yeah. It's a great way to engage with recent updates, especially if maybe an important email went out to everyone in the office, or if there's been some big company news that might change how people work or affect general morale. It taps into that shared context.
Shared knowledge, yeah.
And you'll notice we typically use three main verbs here, each with a slightly different nuance depending on how the information was likely received.
Okay, what are they?
Well, you have, did you hear about something? This is common for news that spreads verbally, or maybe announcements like, did you hear about the new regulations coming next month? Or did you hear about the potential layoffs in the other division? Or even good news, did you hear about the big contract we won?
Okay, hear about for spoken news or general topic?
Generally, yes. Then there's, did you read about something? This obviously implies written information, like an email, memo, or an article. Did you read about the new schedule changes? Or did you read about the company's quarterly results in the newsletter? Notice the preposition about is still used here.
Got it. And the third one?
The third one is, did you see something? Now, interestingly, we usually don't use a preposition like about with see when referring to a specific item you could visually look at.
Oh, right. How does that work?
So, it's, did you see that message from the boss?
Mm-hmm.
Referring to the specific email, not, did you see about that message? Or, did you see the new safety poster they put up? Or, did you see the updated project timeline?
So see for specific visual items, hear about or read about for topics or news.
That's a good general rule, yes. It's a subtle distinction, but it reflects natural English usage. You'd typically use see for something visual, a poster, a specific document, an email on a screen.
Okay. And you mentioned this might be related to office gossip.
Well, yes, in a way. It's a prime question for what we might call office buzz or keeping up with the grapevine, but hopefully in a positive, lighthearted, professional context.
Not malicious gossip.
No, ideally not trying to spread harmful rumors, but rather participating in the natural flow of information and shared reactions within a team or the company. It's about staying connected.
So if someone asks, maybe, did you hear about the new paperwork we need to do for expense claims now? What are some common replies?
Well, common affirmative replies would include, yeah, no, it looks like a lot of extra steps, doesn't it? Or, yeah, I did. HR told me about it last week in the team meeting. Showing they're aware.
What if they've only kind of seen it?
Ah, good point. If you've only partially engaged with it, you might say, yeah, I skimmed through the email, which means you read it quickly just to get the general idea. Or maybe I glanced at it, meaning you looked very quickly.
Skimmed or glanced. Useful words.
Very useful. Many of us are busy, so we only have time to skim things initially. You might elaborate slightly. Yeah, I read the email pretty quickly, but I need to read more about the actual paperwork requirements later.
Ah,
Yeah.
Notice the difference there. You read the email, the specific thing, but read about the paperwork, the topic or details.
Exactly a distinction again. And if you're completely unaware, you'd simply say something like, no, I haven't yet. What happened? Or, no, I didn't. Is it important? Or even just, no, what's happening? Which clearly invites them to share the news with you.
Opens the door for them to explain.
Yes. And finally, if you're comfortable with your colleagues and the context allows for it, maybe it's something genuinely frustrating. You might even have a strong reaction like, yeah, I saw that email. I hate it. It's going to add so much time to our process. But use that kind of response judiciously.
Depends on the workplace culture.
Very much so. But overall, this type of question, did you hear read see, Would. It's probably one of the best tools for casual office discussions and just keeping abreast of internal news and developments.
It really seems like a vital tool for staying informed and connected within your team or company. It allows you to participate in discussions about recent company-wide news, ensuring you're not out of the loop, and lets you share or gather perspectives easily.
Absolutely. It helps you stay plugged into the pulse of the office, which is essential for effective collaboration and just feeling part of the team.
Okay, fantastic starters. But now, starting conversations is only half the battle, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Knowing how to politely and professionally end a conversation without offending your colleague is equally important, maybe even more so sometimes.
Yeah, you don't want to seem rude or abrupt.
Exactly. The goal here is to signal clearly that you need to get back to your work or move on to your next commitment, while also implying, usually, that you're open to chatting again soon. It preserves the relationship.
This is crucial for time management, obviously, but also for just maintaining professionalism and positive relationships.
Definitely. It prevents those awkward lingering moments where neither person knows how to break away, and it ensures your colleagues feel respected, even as you prioritize your tasks. You don't want to leave someone feeling suddenly cut off or ignored.
No, that feels terrible. Okay, so let's look at some practical examples of conversation enders. Maybe we can start with some typically British phrases. I know Mark, one of our favorite contributors, often uses these.
Right, okay, some British examples. My first one starts with a very, very common British word that many of us tend to say just before we quickly stand up or make a move to leave.
Yeah.
The word right.
Just right.
Just right. Sometimes accompanied by a subtle physical cue, perhaps like slapping your thighs gently or giving a little pat on your knee, or even just subtly checking your watch. It's a transition signal.
Okay, so how would the full phrase go?
So you might say, right, well, I should probably get back to my desk now. I'll chat to you in a bit. That right is the initial signal, like a little pre-departure announcement.
Well, I'll chat to you in a bit. That sounds friendly.
It does. Another common one. Okay, I've really got to get on with that email I was working on. Catch up later.
Get on with, meaning continue or start.
Meaning continue or make progress on. Yeah. And catch up later is another friendly way to signal future connection. Or, for a quicker exit, maybe if you unexpectedly bump into someone when you're rushing. Oh, hi, sorry, I've actually got a meeting in a few minutes, but let's pick this up later.
Pick this up later, meaning continue the conversation.
Exactly. Continue this specific conversation at a future time.
What's brilliant about all of those examples, I think, is that they include a phrase that explicitly shows you intend to talk again later.
Yes, that's a key element for politeness.
I'll chat to you in a bit. Catch up later. Let's pick this up later. These aren't final goodbyes. They convey a desire to reconnect, which sounds keen and friendly, even though you're leaving.
Precisely. They're perfect for ensuring your colleague feels valued and the social connection is maintained even as you make your exit. You're basically signaling, I respect our conversation, I enjoyed it, but duty calls right now.
Okay, great British examples. Now, what about some common American examples? Kat, another one of our insightful colleagues, often uses these effectively.
All right, moving across the pond, you might hear something like, oh, look at the time. I've actually got to jump into a meeting right now, but let's touch base tomorrow.
Hop into or jump into a meeting. That sounds very active.
It does, doesn't it? It means you need to start it imminently, like you're literally about to step into the virtual or physical meeting space. It conveys urgency.
And touch base.
Touch base is a very common American business idiom, meaning to contact each other later, often just for a brief update or check-in. It's a very standard way to suggest a follow-up without committing to an immediate, lengthy discussion right then.
Okay, useful phrase. What else?
Another one might be, okay, well, I've got to tie things up here before my next call. Let's keep in touch about those results, though.
Tie things up.
If you tie things up or tie up loose ends, it means you need to finish something or bring it to a conclusion, often a specific task, or maybe a series of small outstanding items. It implies you're in the process of wrapping something up.
And keep in touch is pretty straightforward.
Yes. Simply means to stay in contact. This one feels perhaps a bit more direct, especially if you genuinely are pressed for time before another commitment.
And sometimes simple is good. Is there a really simple, direct one?
Absolutely. A very simple and direct one, which you can easily extend for a bit more clarity if needed, is just, well, I should probably get back. See you later.
Just get back.
Just get back. You can extend that slightly if you want, like get back to work or get back to my office or get back to the meeting I was in. It implies you need to return to where you were or what you're doing before the conversation, suggesting a prior commitment you need to resume.
Simple, effective.
And now, here's one of my ultimate favorite office cliches, but it's used so often for a very good reason. Let's circle back to this at a later time.
Ah, circle back. The
The
classics.
absolute classic. If you circle back to something, it literally means you intend to return to that topic and discuss it again later. However,
There's a however. I sensed a however.
there is often a however. This is where the deeper cultural insight comes in. Let's circle back to this. Frequently has a dual meaning. Many, many times, if someone says, let's circle back to that, particularly if they say it somewhat dismissively, it can be a very polite way to say, I'm not actually going to talk about that right now, and maybe I don't intend to talk about it ever again.
Wow, so it can be a polite brush off.
It absolutely can be. The key to spotting the difference usually is context and nonverbal cues. Look at their body language. Are they making eye contact? Do they sound genuinely interested in rescheduling the discussion? Also, consider the urgency and importance of the original topic. And maybe the most crucial indicator. If they initiate the follow-up later, then it was probably a genuine deferral.
And if they don't?
If they don't bring it up again, and the topic never resurfaces from their end, you might have been politely dismissed or put off indefinitely. And in most cases, it's generally best to take that cue and not aggressively pursue it unless it's critically important.
Fascinating. That dual meaning of circle back is definitely something to be aware of. It's such a common phrase for a reason.
It serves multiple purposes.
Yeah.
And finally, for a really quick exit, maybe especially if you're caught on the phone or you genuinely need to leave immediately, you can use something like, sorry, I've actually got to run now, but I'll check in later.
Gotta run.
Gotta run just means you've got to leave quickly, you need to depart urgently. It's a concise, signals urgency, and the check-in later softens it.
Okay. Mastering these endings seems truly crucial, not just for politeness, but for effective time management and maintaining that professional image.
Absolutely. It prevents that awkward lingering, ensures colleagues feel respected even as you prioritize your work, and just makes daily interactions smoother. It's all about gracefully transitioning from social interaction back to productivity, which is a core skill in any business English environment, really.
So to recap, we've covered a huge range of different ways to confidently start those English conversations at work. Everything from just checking in on someone's day, like, how's it been? Or how's it going?
To seeking quite detailed opinions on new projects or company changes.
Using how do you like? Or what are your thoughts on?
Or even just getting up to speed on the latest company news with did you hear about? And just as importantly, we've given you a whole toolkit of phrases to politely and professionally bring those conversations to a close when you need to.
Yeah, and understanding and practicing these phrases isn't just about, memorizing English words. It's really about learning to navigate workplace culture effectively.
Building that rapport.
Building rapport, absolutely, and ensuring clear, unambiguous communication. Each of these structures we've discussed helps you manage the flow of information, express yourself appropriately for the situation, and even subtly influence how you're perceived professionally.
It gives you more confidence.
It gives you much greater confidence, enabling you to connect, collaborate, and contribute effectively within your professional environment. Okay, so now that you, our listeners, have these tools, how about you actually try them out? For this deep dive, we really want you to engage actively with this.
Put it into practice.
Exactly. Think about your own workday. How would you answer right now if someone asked you, how's your day going? Or maybe, how do you like your current project so far? Spend a moment actually forming those replies in your mind, using the structures and vocabulary we've discussed.
Maybe you can say them out loud.
Yeah. Imagine a colleague is approaching you right now. How would you greet them using one of these starters? And then, if you needed to excuse yourself after a brief chat, how would you gracefully end the conversation using one of the enders?
And this raises an important question for you to consider. What conversations will you perhaps start or end differently tomorrow now that you're armed with these new insights and phrases?
A practical challenge.
It is, because the true value of this kind of knowledge really lies in its application. So go forth and connect. And maybe pay attention to how your English-speaking colleagues use these phrases too. It's excellent ear training to hear them in context.
That's a great final tip. Okay, that's all for this deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
And we'll be back soon with more fascinating insights. It's a true classic, really versatile and widely used. How's your day been? Now, the core structure here is, how has something been? Sounds simple, right? But there's a specific reason for that has been.
And that reason which, often trips up learners. It's all about the present perfect tense.
Yeah.
We use has been specifically because when you're asking this at work, your workday is, well, almost certainly still ongoing.
Yeah.
It's before 5:00 p.m. or maybe 5:30 p.m., so the day hasn't actually concluded yet. You're inquiring about a continuing state, about everything that has happened up until this very moment. You're kind of inviting an update on their whole experience of the day so far.
Okay. So it's that sense of ongoing time that makes the present perfect fit so well here. But what's the sort of deeper purpose of asking this? Is it just being polite? Well, politeness is part of it, but its purpose is actually quite powerful. It's a friendly way to inquire about someone's general experience, their mood, maybe their workload, but also, crucially, about their specific work-related progress without being too, direct or nosy.
Right.
You're signaling genuine interest, opening a casual line for updates and showing you care about their well-being and their work. It's really a low-pressure way to initiate connection.
That makes sense. And we've got some great practical examples for you. Beyond the standard, how's your day been? Oh, you could expand it like, how's your week been?
Yeah, that's super useful, especially midweek, like on a Wednesday when the week isn't quite over.
Or, to be more precise, maybe earlier in the day, how's your morning been so far? That little phrase, so far, really means until now, doesn't it? It reinforces that present perfect idea and invites a summary of just their morning.
Exactly. And to make it even more work-specific, you can directly ask about projects or initiatives. How's your new project been? You're clearly asking for updates on that specific work thing that is, currently ongoing. It's a perfect, non-intrusive way to show engagement and maybe keep tabs on shared goals.
Okay, so what about replies? When it comes to replies, there are some interesting nuances, I think. If someone asks you, how's your day been? I know a very common, almost understated British answer is often, yeah, not too bad.
Yes, very British. It's casual, polite, and kind of avoids oversharing, which is very much a British trait sometimes.
That is.
But you can, of course, use the full present perfect in your reply, mirroring the question, it's been busy, or maybe it's been fine. However, and here's a fascinating thing about native speakers, many will simply drop the it's been and just say one word, busy. Or fine.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. How's your day been? Busy. It's efficient, isn't it?
It is. It's extremely common in casual workplace chats, and it's perfectly acceptable even if it technically breaks a grammar rule. It sounds incredibly natural and, well, efficient.
Another common positive response is just, it's been good. And here's a really useful, broader phrase, things have been good.
Yes, when you say things have been good, that things refers broadly to, life events, updates, news, or just the general situation beyond the immediate work tasks. It's a broader, positive update.
Okay.
And if you're talking about a specific project, a quick contraction is very common. The project's been good, it's fast, it's natural, and it gets the point across quickly.
So the power of this structure for you, the listener, is that it allows you to show genuine interest in your colleagues, smoothly open a line for updates without being too pushy, and really initiate a warm, ongoing connection in your workplace English conversations. It's kind of the bedrock of effective business small talk.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our second simple starter. This one is very similar in meaning to our first, but uses a subtly different grammatical structure. How's your day going? The core structure is, how is something going?
Right, this uses the present continuous, again, because the activity, your day, your work is continuing and not finished yet. While it's grammatically distinct from how's your day been, it carries a very similar meaning. You're inquiring about current progress or very recent activities, usually within the last few hours or even the current moment. It's about the flow of events right now.
It feels very immediate, very present. It's just a nice, easy way to check in with a colleague about their current day at work or how things have been progressing recently.
Exactly. And beyond the general, how's your day going? Oh, you can make it more specific. How's your work going? Or if someone has recently, say, transitioned into a new position or has changed responsibilities, you can ask, how's your new role going?
Right. That could be moving from, say, an assistant to a team lead, or maybe a new job title, or simply new duties.
Precisely. And if they're involved in professional development or maybe some kind of training, a perfect question is, how's your training going? Or just like before, how's your new project going? These are all about asking about ongoing activities that are currently unfolding.
Okay, now for the replies. This is where it gets interesting, I think. Since the question starts with how, we typically use an adverb to describe the manner, right? So, yeah, it's going well is a very standard and grammatically correct response.
That's right. You could also say, yeah, it's going quite smoothly, or yeah, it's going quickly, actually. These all use adverbs that describe how something is going.
And I hear this one all the time, and I know it might go against the traditional grammar books, but it's so common. How's your new role going? Oh, it's going good.
Yes, that's a fascinating nuance, and it's almost a hallmark of casual American English. While technically, yes, good is an adjective, and well is the adverb, it's going good, is a very, very common casual and friendly American English response.
Mm-hmm.
It's generally not considered rude or wrong in informal workplace settings, especially if you're feeling positive. In fact, saying good can sometimes drop the formality just a little, signaling you're comfortable, maybe even enthusiastic, whereas well remains the traditionally correct choice. It's a subtle way to build rapport, actually.
So it's incredibly useful to know the correct grammar, but also what's just commonly accepted and maybe even preferred in casual chat. Another very common and quite neutral reply is, it's going okay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, this response, while it seems neutral on the surface, is often a very polite way to say things aren't actually great without complaining. Think of it maybe as a 5 out of 10. It kind of implies mediocre at best, or I'm managing, but it's nothing special.
Yeah.
And this can be quite a strategic response because generally you want to avoid getting a reputation for complaining or moaning at work. Nobody really wants to be that person who always brings the office mood down, right?
That makes a lot of sense. It's almost like a little professional shield to manage your reputation. What about other useful replies like, it's coming along?
Yeah. It's coming along means we're working on it, indicating steady progress, but maybe not necessarily fast progress. It implies, progress is being made, maybe slowly, but it is happening.
Okay.
And a more robust answer if things are proving difficult. It's tough, but we're getting through it. This indicates a challenge, but also perseverance, that kind of step-by-step approach that signals resilience.
This really highlights how these phrases allow you, the listener, to gauge a colleague's current state and can open the door for you to offer potential support or simply show you care. It fosters better workplace relationships and ultimately a more positive business environment.
Definitely.
Okay, let's move to our third how question. It's one slightly longer, but incredibly flexible, especially when you're looking for broader updates about people or maybe groups. How are things going with your team? The core structure is how are things going with person, group, object.
This, again, uses the present continuous because the situation with the team or the client or the boss is, well, ongoing and dynamic. The real beauty of this question is its remarkable versatility.
You're asking about people they work with, directly their boss, maybe specific groups or clients. You're subtly seeking updates. You want to know if things are going well, just okay, or maybe there are some challenges. And importantly, you're signaling that you're willing to potentially help or offer advice if there are problems, making it a polite, appropriate, and friendly way to check in.
That's right. It could be, how are things going with your client, especially if they've recently taken on a new key account? Or how are things going with your new boss? Or maybe new superior or new supervisor?
Yeah.
You could even ask, how are things going with the new guy? Referring to a recent hire in a friendly, casual way, perhaps just to see if they're settling in okay.
It extends beyond just individuals or small groups, right? Like, how are things going with your new department? Or even more generally, how are things going?
Exactly. That last one can be asked simply about life outside work, but it's easily adapted to work topics, even hobbies if you're trying to build rapport. How are things going with your that art project you mentioned? It's a great small talk question that you can easily tailor to the situation, making it perfect for both professional and casual business conversations.
Very flexible.
It is very, very flexible. And here's a crucial point, especially for international listeners. Unlike some other languages where you might directly translate, you generally wouldn't say, how's your boss going in English? It just sounds odd.
Right.
This structure, how are things going with person group, is the natural and appropriate way to ask about people and their situations in an English-speaking workplace.
Okay, so for replies, if someone asks you, how are things going with your new team, you could say, yeah, it's going well, or it's going smoothly. Again, using those adverbs to describe how the situation is progressing.
And as we discussed with it's going good, the casual, yeah, it's going good, or it's going great are also perfectly acceptable, particularly in American English if you want a more relaxed tone. Since the work or the relationship is ongoing, you can also use the present perfect to describe a state leading up to now. So, how are things going with your new boss?
It's been tricky so far. We're still kind of figuring out the workflow.
Right.
Or On the more positive side, it's been pretty good so far. We've been getting to know each other and, establishing our roles.
Other continuous updates could be things like, we're making a lot of progress, or we're getting a lot done. These are both positive and show continuous work and productivity.
And for general updates, things are going really well or everything's going well. But then there's that nuanced, they're going okay.
But yes, the strategic, okay. Exactly. Again, this is often the minimum okay, a polite way to convey that things aren't fantastic, but you're managing. It's about managing your professional reputation. It stops you developing that reputation for complaining or moaning, which, as we said, can really affect the morale and productivity of an office. So often, okay is the safest and most appropriate level of negativity to share at work.
This really raises an important point for you, the listener. How do these questions allow you to discreetly offer assistance, build rapport, and truly understand the dynamics a colleague might be facing? It strengthens your professional network and makes you a more valuable team member. It's about being observant and supportive, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's active listening built into the question.
Okay, now let's shift gears slightly. We've talked about general updates. Now let's move to asking for opinions and feedback, which is so crucial for collaborative work. Our next phrase is, how do you like the job so far? The core structure. How do you like something so far?
This question is incredibly insightful, mainly because of that initial how. It's a really key distinction. If you simply asked, do you like the job so far? The answer would likely be a simple yes or no.
Right.
But by starting with how, you are explicitly asking for more than just a binary response. You're prompting your colleague to provide their opinion, to explain why they like it, or what their experience has been like, not just a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. It pushes them to share a deeper, more detailed perspective.
And that so far is really important here too, isn't it? Meaning, up until this moment, this question is used when something new has started at work, maybe a new role, a new initiative, and you're asking about their experience after, say, a few days or weeks of it being underway.
Exactly. For a brand new colleague who just started, how do you like the job so far? Is perfect. Or if your company introduced, say, a new work from home policy, you can ask, how do you like working from home so far? You're basically asking, are you enjoying it? Is it working for you? Is it a bit weird? What are your impressions?
And it applies to specific aspects of the job too. How do you like the team dynamic so far? Or how do you like the new role so far? How do you like the company so far? Even, how do you like the project so far? You're trying to gauge their experience and overall impression of something ongoing.
And these conversations aren't just polite filler. They can actually become quite meaningful. When you ask this, you're often also asking because you might be able to help, or offer some advice, or maybe provide some reassurance if they're finding things challenging or a bit overwhelming. It's a genuine gesture of support within a professional context.
That's a great point. So if your colleague asks you this, how can you reply? A good straightforward start is, yeah, it's been really great so far. That so far definitely influences the grammar, leading you naturally towards the present perfect.
Or, I've been enjoying it so far. Another excellent option, especially if you want to be brief but positive, is everything is going well so far. That so far is a clear signal to use the present perfect. And a very common, simple, and neutrally positive phrase you hear a lot is, so far, so good.
I love so far, so good. It's concise and just implies things are on track. And if you want to provide a bit more detail, giving a more nuanced opinion, you could say something like, I really like the project. It's challenging, but it's really interesting.
Absolutely. You're explaining the why, providing concrete reasons for your opinion. For instance, you might say, honestly, it's been great so far. People are really friendly, and the training has been very eye-opening. This provides rich detail, showcasing the depth of response this type of question can, and often does, elicit. It shows you're engaged and thoughtful, which is always valued in a professional setting.
So this is a really good tactic for you to extract more information from your colleagues if you want a longer, more insightful answer. It moves beyond simple yes-no responses and helps you genuinely understand their experience. It's excellent for building connections and getting a deeper read on the office pulse in your daily workplace English-speaking practice. Okay, our next opinion question is slightly less formal than the one we'll look at next, but still perfectly appropriate for the workplace. What do you think about Sarah's idea? The core structure is, what do you think about idea suggestion change?
Right. This question is really designed for discussing ideas, potential decisions or changes after a meeting, or maybe a team discussion. You're trying to get your colleagues' professional opinion. Did they like the idea? Do they disagree? Do they have a different perspective?
Yeah.
And it's important to stress this is about work-related professional feedback, not office gossip. It's completely appropriate for private one-on-one conversations.
Exactly. It's great for those face-to-face chats, maybe in the break room or swinging by someone's desk.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about the boss's suggestion? It's quite ambitious, right? Do you think we can actually do that given our resources?
Or what do you think about the new schedule? Maybe the company is experimenting with starting at 8 instead of 9, and you want to know their honest thoughts. It could also be about larger company shifts, like, what do you think about the merger?
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a much better way to gauge professional feelings about a big company change without asking the potentially too personal, how do you feel about it? Which might invite emotional responses rather than professional insights.
Good point. And then there's the more general, what do you think about that email they send out from HR regarding the new policy?
Now, for replies to, what do you think about? If someone asks, what do you think about the boss's suggestion? You could say, I think it makes sense. This basically means, I understand the idea, and it seems logical or potentially good.
Okay.
Or a bit more cautiously, I think it might work, but I'm not sure. And if you're really not convinced, I'm not totally convinced yet, I need to see more data.
And for a more general summary, especially when you have pros and cons but haven't fully collected your thoughts yet, you could use the word overall, like I think overall it's a good idea, or I think overall it probably won't work in the long run. It's a quick, useful summary that allows you to express a balanced view without getting lost in the weeds. Or you can just be honest and transparent and say, I'm not sure what I think yet. It has pros and it has cons. Now, this could be a genuine admission that you're still processing, or frankly, a polite way to avoid discussing it if you don't have enough information, or maybe just don't want to talk about it right then.
Right, a polite sidestep.
Exactly. And if you feel an idea needs improvement, you might say, I think it could be better, or I think it could use some work. This suggests refinement rather than outright rejection, which is often more constructive.
And similar to overall, you can use in general. Like, I think in general, it's not the best idea for our team right now. These are good summary words when your thoughts aren't fully formed, but you want to offer a high-level opinion. So these phrases really empower you to confidently engage in discussions about workplace changes and ideas, offering your perspective or understanding others without overcommitting or becoming too formal. It's that practical small talk for the office that can lead to really productive dialogue. Now, let's step up the formality just a bit. Our next question is, what are your thoughts on the new project? The core structure is, what are your thoughts on project presentation software?
Okay, so when you ask this question, or when someone asks you this, you're signaling that you're asking for a more elaborate, professional, and often longer answer. It implies that you expect details, maybe examples to support opinions, and a more considered formal response.
Right.
This question is definitely more suitable for a meeting setting, maybe a formal email, or when your boss asks for your professional opinion on a pretty serious matter. Be prepared to talk and share quite a bit more detail when you're asked this.
And here's a really crucial piece of advice for you, the listener. Even if you personally hate some new software because, I don't know, the buttons are all weird and it's slow and doesn't work, you do not say that directly in this context. Your response needs to be professional and analytical. Instead, you could say something like, well, it needs some work. There are still some kinks to iron out. Kinks meaning small problems or issues to fix. But overall, I can see why we've installed it and the potential benefits. It's about critical analysis and constructive feedback, not just venting personal feelings.
Exactly. Professionalism is key here. Other examples of questions in this more formal vein include, what are your thoughts on the presentation? This asks for a professional opinion on a delivered presentation, maybe after a board meeting. Or, what are your thoughts on the new software deployment? And very generally and formally, particularly in an email or a very formal meeting, what are your thoughts on the matter?
Okay. So for replies, if someone asks, what are your thoughts on the new project? Well, you could respond, well, I can understand the benefits on paper, but I still think there are a lot of details we need to work out before launch. This acknowledges positives while clearly identifying challenges that need addressing.
Or, for a positive professional endorsement, personally, I think the project sounds quite promising, and we should probably explore it a little further, maybe with a pilot program. And if you need more time to think deeply, which is perfectly fine, you can say, overall, I feel that we're going in the right direction, but I'd like to get back to you with some more specific thoughts or ideas after I've had more time to review the data.
That's a good one. It buys you time but shows you're engaged.
Exactly. It allows you to give a quick summary while asking for time to collect more specific thoughts, showing thoroughness and thoughtfulness.
And what if you disagree with a proposal but want to be professional and constructive?
You could state, in my opinion, I don't see this working for us in the end, given our current resources. But I would certainly like to discuss this further and perhaps offer some alternative solutions.
Mm.
This expresses disagreement professionally, but crucially signals your willingness for a continued, detailed, and productive conversation. What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how the language subtly shifts and becomes, a bit more serious and professional with this type of question compared to, what do you think about? Understanding this distinction is vital for you to tailor your communication to the formality of the situation and the depth of response expected. It ensures you always sound appropriate, thoughtful, and articulate in your workplace English.
Okay, let's move on to getting news and updates. This is often a slightly more casual scenario, perhaps while you're in the break room, making coffee, or maybe heading out for lunch together. Our next question set is, did you hear about the new regulations? The main structures are, did you hear about something? Did you read about something? And did you see something?
Yeah, this question is brilliant because it's often actually twofold. You're literally asking if they've seen or heard the news, perhaps a new company-wide email update that went out to everyone, but you're also implicitly asking, so what do you think about them?
Ah, okay. Two questions in one.
Exactly. It's a great way to gauge reactions to recent office developments and engage in that kind of small business English talk about current events or policy changes within the company.
And there's a crucial nuance with the verbs here, right? Depending on how the information was communicated. For general news, whether you heard it spoken or saw it written, you use, did you hear about something? Like, did you hear about the new regulations from compliance?
But for information that you know or assume came from text or documents, maybe an email, a report, a memo, it's better to use, did you read about something? So, did you read about the layoffs in the memo from HR? Or did you read about the new schedule that was posted online?
Okay, got it. Hear about, read about, what about see?
Right, for something visually observed, like a physical memo on a bulletin board or maybe a message that popped up on your screen, it's, did you see something? And the important point here is, no preposition after see.
Ah, good distinction.
Yeah. So, did you see the new regulations posted by the coffee machine? Or did you see that message from the boss that flashed on everyone's computer?
Okay, so did you see that memo, not see about?
Exactly. Or you can say, did you read about that message from the boss? The choice of verb really depends on how the information was likely consumed, and using the right one helps you sound more precise and natural.
So if someone asks you, did you hear about the new regulations? A short answer could just be, yeah, I know. Or if it was something you had to read, like, did you read that message from the boss? And maybe you were busy, you could say, yeah, I skimmed through it.
To skim means to read quickly, just for the general idea, to get the gist. Because, let's be honest, we're often very busy at work and only have time to skim important, but maybe lengthy documents.
True.
Similarly, I glanced at it quickly means you just looked very quickly, a brief look. These are common and natural replies when you're pressed for time.
And if you genuinely haven't heard or seen it yet?
You can simply say, no, I haven't yet, or no, I didn't. And if you missed it completely and want more information, a good follow-up is, no, what's happening? Can you fill me in?
Yeah.
That invites your colleague to explain further. Or, if you did hear about it and maybe know the source, you can provide context. Yeah, I did. HR told me about it last week in the team meeting. This confirms your awareness and gives the source of information.
And you mentioned a subtle language pattern.
Yes, it's interesting. You might say, well, I read the email pretty quickly, but I need to read more about the paperwork. Notice the difference. You read an email, but you read more about a topic when you want to learn additional, deeper information. It's subtle, but common.
Ah, interesting. And what about for closer colleagues if you're comfortable expressing stronger feelings in a more informal setting?
Right, you might say, yeah, I saw it, I can't believe it. Or maybe more negatively, yeah, I saw it, I hate it. It's going to make our workflow so much more complicated.
Okay, that sounds a bit like a cheeky.
Yes, that last one. If you're looking to share strong opinions or perhaps engage in a bit of office gossip, meaning sharing opinions informally with trusted colleagues, that's the phrase for you, it definitely shows a level of comfort and shared understanding or maybe shared frustration with your colleagues.
So this question structure is really invaluable for you, the listener, to stay informed about office news, gauge your colleagues' reactions, and engage in the more social, informal side of office life. All while being mindful, of course, of how much you share and with whom. It's key for building that informal rapport.
Definitely.
Okay, we've covered a huge range of ways to confidently start conversations, really setting the stage for good workplace interaction. But now for the flip side, which, honestly, many people find equally, if not more, challenging. How do you gracefully end a conversation politely and professionally without hurting anyone's feelings or appearing rude?
Yeah, this is where a lot of people struggle, isn't it? They feel kind of trapped.
Totally.
The goal here is to give you some example sentences that let you, walk away and get back to your tasks while subtly signaling that you do want to talk again later. You're not cutting off the conversation forever. You're indicating a desire for future connection and basically maintaining the relationship. It's about being efficient while remaining friendly.
Okay, let's start with some British English phrases for ending conversations. My first one often starts with a very, very British verbal cue that almost every British person says before they stand up or before they leave.
Right.
Yes,
No, right.
it's incredibly common. And it often comes with a subtle physical cue, doesn't it? Like a light slap on the thighs if you're sitting down, or a quick, almost imperceptible glance at your watch or phone, maybe while holding a cup of tea. It's like a nonverbal signal that you're preparing to transition.
Exactly. So after a conversation, you might say, right, I should probably get back to my desk. I'll chat to you in a bit.
And that "I'll chat to you in a bit" is key. It explicitly signals future interaction, making you sound friendly and keen to connect again soon, rather than just dismissive. It leaves the door open, as you said.
Another common one. Okay, I've really got to get on with that email. Catch up later. Yeah, get on with means to start or continue working diligently on something, like a pressing email. And catch up later, again, indicates a desire for a future conversation, showing you value the connection even though you have to leave now.
And if you have a genuine time constraint, which is always a polite and understandable reason, "Sorry, I've got a meeting in a few minutes. Let's pick this up later."
Providing a clear, time-sensitive reason for leaving is always polite, and "let's pick this up later" is a direct phrase for resuming the discussion at another time. It implies, this conversation is important, but time is short right now.
So the consistent element across all these British phrases seems to be a clear, polite statement about needing to leave for a specific reason, followed by a phrase that expresses a desire for future conversation.
Exactly. This helps you sound friendly, engaged, and professional, not dismissive or rude. It's all about managing expectations and maintaining those relationships.
You know, for some American English phrases for ending conversations, these can sometimes be a bit more direct or rely on different common idioms, right?
Yeah, sometimes. My personal favorite and a real go-to is, oh, look at the time. I've got to hop into a meeting. Let's touch base tomorrow.
Classic.
It is, oh, look at the time, is a classic, universally understood and acceptable excuse. I've got to hop into a meeting, or you might hear jump into a meeting, means you need to enter or start a meeting immediately, often implying a quick departure. And let's touch base tomorrow means let's contact each other tomorrow, signaling a clear intention to continue the conversation or topic. It's a very, very common business idiom.
That's very common and really efficient. What's another useful one for those busy moments?
How about, okay, I've got to tie things up here. Let's keep in touch about the results. Tie things up means you need to bring tasks or maybe a situation to a close or finish something indicating you have work to complete.
Okay.
And let's keep in touch is another simple, easy way to indicate ongoing communication. This phrase can sound maybe a touch more direct, and it's particularly useful if you are in a rush or maybe if you're in a supervisory role needing to end the chat.
And a simple, direct one that you can use in almost any situation. Should probably get back. You can add specifics like to work, to my office, or to the meeting.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the classic polite closure. See you later. Short, sweet, and effective.
Absolutely. And here's one of my ultimate favorite office cliches, but it comes with a really crucial nuance for you, the listener, that you absolutely need to be aware of. Let's circle back to this at a later time.
Ah, circle back. I hear that one a lot.
You do. Now, while it can genuinely mean we'll discuss this later, and it's often used that way in project management, It's really important to know that often, maybe even a lot of the times, especially if it comes from someone in a higher position or someone who's maybe tired of a topic,
Yeah.
if they say, let's circle back to that, it might actually be a polite way to say, stop talking about that for now, or I'm done with this topic, let's move on.
Wow, okay.
It depends heavily on the situation, their tone, and the context of the conversation. This is a very important aha moment for recognizing unspoken social cues in workplace conversations. It can be professional deflection. You'll definitely hear it differently now, won't you?
I definitely will. That's a great insight. Totally transforms how you interpret that phrase. Okay, and finally, a quick and easy exit when you're really in a hurry.
How about, sorry, I've got to run, check in later.
Gotta run.
Yeah, gotta run is a common, quick way to say I've got to leave or I've got to go quickly. And check in later just means to contact or talk again at a later time. Understanding these different phrases and their nuances empowers you to choose the perfect one for any situation. It ensures you always exit politely and professionally, managing your time effectively in a busy work environment, and crucially, preserving those valuable professional relationships.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Well, we've covered a huge range of powerful ways for you to confidently start and end conversations with your English coworkers. Whether you're asking about their day, delving into a new project, discussing company updates, or simply needing to make that graceful exit, you now have a really comprehensive toolkit for effective speaking practice and essential business English talk.
And remember, the real takeaway from this deep dive, I think, is understanding not just what to say, but why you're saying it. It's about those grammar nuances, the subtle power of the present perfect versus the continuous, the varying formality levels, and even those unique British versus American cultural leanings we touched on. This deep dive has aimed to provide you with those genuine aha moments that make the information truly stick and allow you to adapt these phrases seamlessly to your unique professional environment.
Now that you have these tools, think about your next workday. Which of these conversation starters will you try first? Perhaps, how is your new project going? To show interest and open a dialogue. Or, if you find yourself needing to wrap things up politely, which exit phrase will you reach for? Maybe that classic and very efficient, oh, look at the time.
And beyond just trying them out, I'd encourage you to consider how consciously applying these specific structures and understanding their nuances can not only dramatically improve your English speaking skills, but also subtly yet profoundly shift your professional relationships. You know, how might feeling more empowered to initiate and conclude these vital workplace interactions actually open up new opportunities or foster deeper, more authentic connections for you and your career? It's a really powerful step towards building genuine rapport and confidence.
We truly encourage you to go ahead and use some of these questions and phrases in your next workplace conversation. Practice really does make perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found these insights incredibly useful and empowering.
We will connect with you very soon for our next deep dive.